Once, in the small, secluded town of Ravenswood, nestled deep within the eerie embrace of a dense, ancient forest, there stood an abandoned mansion that locals dared not approach. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, haunted by the spirits of its long-deceased inhabitants. It was said that on moonless nights, the mansion's windows glowed with an otherworldly light, and faint whispers could be heard, carried by the wind through the rustling leaves. A group of adventurous friends, drawn by the allure of the supernatural, decided to spend a night inside the mansion. They believed it would be a thrilling experience, an opportunity to test their courage and dismiss the superstitious tales that had plagued Ravenswood for generations. As the group stepped through the creaking front door, they were met with an oppressive stillness that hung in the air. The mansion's interior was shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by the pale moonlight filtering through the tattered curtains. The air felt thick with an unseen presence, and the silence was broken only by the echoes of the cautious footsteps. They explored room after room, each filled with antique furniture covered in dusty sheets and cobwebs that clung to the corners like ghostly veils. A grand staircase spiraled upward, inviting them to venture into the unknown reaches of the mansion. As they climbed, the temperature dropped, and an unsettling chill enveloped them. In one room, they discovered a collection of faded portraits depicting a family that seemed frozen in time. The eyes of the painted figures seemed to follow the intruders, and an unnerving feeling settled upon the group. They pressed on, ignoring the growing sense of unease. As the night wore on, strange occurrences intensified. Objects moved on their own, distant whispers echoed through the halls, and the temperature continued to plummet. The group began to question the decision to enter the mansion, but curiosity held them captive. In the darkest hours of the night, they gathered in a decaying parlor, surrounded by broken furniture and peeling wallpaper. It was then that a disembodied voice, barely audible, began to speak. The whispers seemed to come from the very walls of the mansion, telling tales of tragedy and sorrow, of a family torn apart by secrets and betrayal. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows danced along the walls, taking shape and form. The friends, gripped by terror, realized they were not alone. The spirits of the mansion's tormented past materialized before them, their anguished faces pleading for release. Desperation filled the air as the friends scrambled to escape the haunted mansion. The once still atmosphere erupted into a cacophony of ghostly wails and anguished cries. The mansion seemed to resist the departure, its walls groaning and shifting as if alive. As they burst through the front door, the first light of dawn began to break on the horizon. The mansion stood silent and foreboding, but the whispers had ceased. The friends, breathless and shaken, vowed never to speak of the horrors they had witnessed that night. From that day forward, the mansion in Ravenswood remained undisturbed, its secrets buried within its decaying walls. The townsfolk, though still wary of its haunted reputation, couldn't help but feel a sense of relief as the mansion faded into obscurity, its stories whispered only in hushed tones by those who dared to remember. Story 2. In the quiet town of Hollow Grove, nestled between mist-covered hills, there existed a forgotten carnival that time seemed to have abandoned. The once vibrant attractions now stood as rusted relics, their colors faded and peeling. Locals spoke of the carnival in hushed tones, sharing tales of eerie laughter that echoed through the night and shadowy figures glimpsed between the decaying rides. A group of thrill-seekers, lured by the mystery that clung to the forgotten carnival, decided to explore its desolate grounds one moonlit night. Armed with flashlights and nervous laughter, they ventured past the creaking ticket booth and into the heart of the dilapidated amusement park. As they passed the skeletal remains of the roller coaster, a distant calliope melody echoed through the still air. The group exchanged uneasy glances but pressed on, drawn by an unseen force deeper into the carnival's heart. The flickering lights cast long, distorted shadows that seemed to dance with a life of their own. Their journey led them to a weathered big-top tent, its tattered entrance flapping in the breeze. Hesitant but intrigued, they stepped inside, finding themselves in a world frozen in time. Dust-covered circus props and faded posters adorned the interior, depicting performers long forgotten. The group wandered deeper into the tent, guided by the haunting melody that grew louder with each step. A soft breeze carried the scent of popcorn and cotton candy, as if the carnival's heyday had never truly ended. They stumbled upon an old carousel, its once colorful horses now worn and chipped. As the group approached, the carousel sprang to life with a ghostly glow. The calliope music reached a crescendo, and the figures of spectral children appeared, riding the carousel as if caught in an eternal loop of joyous innocence. The thrill-seekers, frozen in awe and fear, watched as the ghostly children turned their ethereal gazes toward them, their laughter echoing through the silent night. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. The once cheerful ambience twisted into something more sinister. The ghostly children's laughter morphed into haunting cries, and the carnival rides groaned as if awakening from a long slumber. Shadows twisted and contorted, forming nightmarish shapes that seemed to feed on the fear in the air. Realization struck the group. They had trespassed into a realm where time and spirits converged. The carnival, forgotten by the world, sought to reclaim the memories of its past. Panic set in as the ghostly figures advanced, their spectral hands reaching out to the intruders. In a desperate attempt to escape, the group fled the tent, the ghostly carnival in pursuit. The calliope music transformed into a dissonant cacophony, echoing the torment of lost souls. As they crossed the carnival's boundaries, the once haunting melody faded, leaving behind only the chilling whispers of the wind. Hollow Grove returned to its quiet slumber, the forgotten carnival disappearing back into the shadows. The thrill-seekers, forever changed by their encounter, vowed never to speak of the night they glimpsed the spectral echoes of a carnival lost to time. The memories lingered, etched into their minds like a haunting refrain from a bygone era. Story 3. In the sleepy town of Evermere, there existed an ancient mansion known as Blackthorn Manor. Its towering spires and ivy-covered walls held the secrets of generations long past. The town's elders spoke in hushed tones about a cursed mirror hidden within the depths of the manor, a mirror that could reveal the darkest desires of those who dared to gaze into its depths. A group of friends, intrigued by the tales of the mysterious mirror, decided to spend a night in Blackthorn Manor. They believed it would be a thrilling adventure, dismissing the superstitions that clung to the old estate. Little did they know, the mirror's power was far beyond their understanding. As the group explored the mansion's dimly lit halls, they stumbled upon a forgotten chamber tucked away in the corner. In its center stood the fabled mirror, its ornate frame reflecting the flickering candlelight. Intrigued by its ancient allure, one of the friends approached and stared into the mirror, half expecting to see only their own reflection. But the mirror had other plans. As the friend gazed deeper, the room seemed to warp and twist. Shadows danced across the walls, and a haunting whisper filled the air. The mirror revealed visions, nightmarish scenes of the past, present, and possible futures. The friends watched in horror as their deepest fears and desires played out before them like a macabre puppet show. One by one, the group succumbed to the mirror's influence. Friendships shattered as long-buried secrets were laid bare. The mansion itself seemed to come alive, its walls pulsating with an otherworldly energy. The air grew thick with tension as the group realized they were trapped in a nightmare of their own making. Desperation set in, and the friends attempted to flee the mansion, only to find the doors locked and the hallways shifting like a labyrinth designed to keep them ensnared. The mirror's influence intensified, distorting reality and blurring the line between nightmare and waking life. In a final attempt to break free, the remaining friends gathered in front of the mirror. The room plunged into darkness, and a ghastly figure emerged from the depths of the glass, a twisted reflection of their collective fears and regrets. The friends stared into the abyss, their own haunted eyes reflecting back at them. As dawn broke, the mansion stood silent once more. Blackthorn Manor became a mere whisper in the town's history, its secrets buried with the friends who dared to unlock the mysteries of the cursed mirror. Evermere returned to its tranquil existence, but those who knew of the mirror's malevolence dared not speak its name, for fear that the echoes of that fateful night would awaken the dormant darkness within. Story 4. Nestled on the outskirts of Ravenshade, a small village surrounded by dense woods, there lay a forgotten grove known only as the Silent Grove. The townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about the peculiar stillness that pervaded the area, a stillness so profound that even the wind seemed to avoid disturbing its peace. A group of curious teenagers, seeking adventure on a moonlit night, decided to explore the enigmatic Silent Grove. Armed with flashlights and a sense of invincibility, they ventured into the heart of the woods, where the gnarled branches of ancient trees intertwined overhead, casting eerie shadows on the forest floor. As they delved deeper, the ambient sounds of rustling leaves and nocturnal creatures ceased, replaced by an unsettling quiet that hung heavily in the air. The group pressed on, drawn to the heart of the grove, where an ancient stone altar stood amidst a clearing bathed in an ethereal glow. In the center of the altar lay an ornate, mysterious book, seemingly untouched by time. The group, fueled by a mixture of curiosity and youthful bravado, opened the book to find a series of cryptic symbols and arcane writings. Unbeknownst to them, the pages held the key to a long-buried secret, the guardian spirit of the Silent Grove. As the group deciphered the ancient text aloud, an otherworldly mist enveloped the clearing. Whispers echoed through the air, and the shadows of the trees seemed to writhe with a life of their own. The atmosphere shifted from eerie silence to a haunting symphony of unseen forces. Suddenly, spectral figures materialized around the altar. The guardian spirits of the grove, betrayed and forgotten through the ages, sought revenge for the disturbance of their sacred space. The teenagers, now paralyzed with fear, watched as the spirits' eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity. The spirits, in a chorus of mournful whispers, recounted tales of ancient rituals gone awry, and the curse that had bound them to the Silent Grove. The grove, once a place of harmony between the spirit realm and the mortal world, had been tainted by human folly. Realization struck the group. They had unleashed forces beyond their comprehension. Desperation set in as the spirits closed in, their ethereal forms intertwining with the shadows. The once invulnerable teenagers were now entangled in a dance with the vengeful spirits. In a last-ditch effort to appease the guardian spirits, one member of the group offered a heartfelt apology, acknowledging the wrongs committed by those who had come before. The air grew still, and the haunting whispers softened. The spirits, appeased by the sincerity of the apology, slowly retreated into the shadows, leaving the grove in a silence so profound it felt as though time itself had paused. As the group exited the Silent Grove, the forest around them seemed to come alive once more. The night returned to its usual symphony of rustling leaves and nocturnal sounds. The teenagers, forever changed by their encounter with the spirits, left the grove with a newfound respect for the mysteries of the natural world, vowing never to disturb the sacred harmony of the Silent Grove again. Story 5. In the remote village of Harrow's Hollow, nestled deep within a valley surrounded by ominous, mist-shrouded hills, there stood an ancient mansion with a dark history. The mansion was known as Ravenhurst Manor, and it bore witness to a tragedy that had left an indelible mark on the land, a tragedy that locals only spoke of in hushed tones. A group of thrill-seekers, drawn by the legends that clung to Ravenhurst Manor, decided to spend a night exploring its haunted halls. They had heard whispers of a cursed melody that echoed through the mansion at the stroke of midnight, a haunting tune that could ensnare the souls of those who dared to listen. As the group crossed the threshold of Ravenhurst Manor, the air grew thick with an oppressive stillness. The grand foyer welcomed them with faded grandeur, its chandeliers swaying gently as if stirred by unseen hands. Dust-covered portraits of long-forgotten aristocrats adorned the walls, their eyes seemingly following the intruders. The group navigated through dimly lit corridors, guided only by flickering candlelight. The floor creaked beneath their weight, and the walls seemed to whisper long-forgotten secrets. The mansion exuded an otherworldly energy that left the thrill-seekers on edge. As midnight approached, the group gathered in the grand ballroom, the heart of Ravenhurst Manor. A grand piano, draped in a dusty cloth, stood in the center of the room. The legend spoke of a mysterious sheet of music that, when played at midnight, would awaken the spirits that lingered within the mansion. Undeterred, one of the group members, a skilled pianist, uncovered the grand piano and revealed the forgotten sheet of music. The haunting melody, a composition of sorrow and despair, filled the ballroom as the pianist's fingers danced across the keys. The atmosphere became charged with an eerie energy, and the air seemed to vibrate with unseen forces. As the last notes of the cursed melody echoed through the ballroom, the temperature plummeted, and a spectral mist materialized before their eyes. Shadows took form, and ghostly figures emerged, their hollow eyes fixated on the intruders. The spirits, bound by tragedy and loss, swayed to the melancholic tune, their movements synchronized with the haunting melody. The thrill-seekers, paralyzed with fear, watched as the spirits reenacted the tragic events that had befallen Ravenhurst Manor. The echoes of betrayal and heartbreak reverberated through the room, and the group felt an overwhelming sense of sorrow enveloping them. As the clock struck midnight, the spirits ceased their spectral dance. The mansion fell into an eerie silence, and the grand piano echoed with a final, chilling note. The spirits, having completed their spectral performance, faded into the mist, leaving the group alone in the cold embrace of Ravenhurst Manor. Overwhelmed by the encounter, the thrill-seekers fled the mansion, the echoes of the haunting melody lingering in their minds. The once dormant legends of Harrow's Hollow came to life that night, and the group left with a deep understanding that some tales are best left undisturbed, for the past has a way of reaching out from the shadows to reclaim those who dare to unravel its mysteries. Harrow's Hollow returned to its somber silence, and Ravenhurst Manor stood as a testament to the enduring echoes of a tragic past, its halls forever haunted by the haunting melody that had summoned the spirits of sorrow.